So forgive me. I want to like really like picture this trip. So you flew out of Raleigh, I guess, to like
Dallas,
where?
Fort Worth, where they lost all my luggage. Yeah.
You
So
didn't paramotor down there?
no, I didn't paramotor to Mexico. Just 40-mile hops.
I'm not going to make it over the fence.
I'm not going to make it over the Gulf.
You have like wings or sails or something for your paramotor, right, Woody? Do you have like
it looks just the same with a propeller on your back.
Do you have what is your what's the decal on your sails? Like what do you have? Like what's how I know if I look up and I see a sail in the sky, how do I know it's Woody? What am I looking for?
It's just a bunch of dollars.
It's hard to spot me. I have like I don't even know how many wings I have now, like 11 or something like that. Like I if I want a wing that's and it's different than what I have, I get that. And now they're just accumulating.
You got like vanity plates,
Yeah.
like higher than you.
I tend to do a lot of acro. So if the dude's just doing, if he looks like he's crashing, it's probably me. That's it. I'm that guy. So yeah.
Okay.
I
So
don't speak any Spanish.
They lose your luggage at Dallas Fort Worth.
Okay.
How do you get to Mexico? Like, is that a drive across thing, or do you hop another flight?
The stopover was at Dallas
tunnel.
Fort Worth, and then I flew into Mexico City. And I arrived at Mexico City. There was no luggage, so I stayed at a hotel there for 2 nights while I waited for my luggage to arrive. And I just walked around Mexico City in relatively dirty underwear. And but you know, like
in good company.
I had to process that. But yeah, like I don't know, like it like Jackie's at home, like, oh man, that sucks, whatever. And I'm like, it doesn't suck. It's just a different vacation. I was gonna check out Valle de Bravo. Now I'm checking out Mexico City. You play the second video with volume.
Is this where the deaths happened?
Some deaths, inevitably.
In the middle of nowhere. I'm not sure how I'm going to get back. I saw this farm, and I'm greeted by a team of professional wing packers.
Oh no!
Hola!
Oh no!
The video fucked up right there. They all wait.
No, I loved it. I love that,
dude. So these guys were so poor. One of them didn't even have shoes, and there are thorn bushes everywhere. My wing is stuck in a thorn bush. We spent like, it must have been 40 minutes getting that wing, and underneath it are these lines. They're little like strong kite string, and I don't know how many there are, but say 80 or something. It just seems like a lot. And they're helping me get it untangled from the thorn bushes. I've got my multi-tool just like cutting the vegetation, freeing everything, and me and that, what were there, 6 kids just
something
worked
like
at it for like an hour. Like we did after we got it free. I had to kite it. We had to untangle all the lines because that was crazy. Go to the third video. I want to show you guys.
I'm sorry. Before
half sec. Yeah. Kyle, go ahead. But I want one too.
We're on the same page. Woody, after the poor shoeless children helped you for an hour to unrig your $15,000 play toy on your vacation, did you please tell me, give them some money?
I tipped them 5 times the customary amount for packing a wing because it was tangled and because there were a lot of them.
What is the standard amount
40 cents.
for unpacking a wing?
Actually, so the standard amount is 50 pesos. I tipped them 500 pesos, so 10 times the standard amount.
Zach, I would like to know what 500 pesos comes to in American dollars.
There's no need to look that up.
And then
sounds like a very big number.
And then I want you to divide that number into roughly $6 million US dollars. And see what the percentage would be.
Kyle, 500 pesos. 500 pesos is $24.
Oh my
cents total.
God!
Which divides neatly by 6. Well done, Woody.
Thank you, Filthy. I
$4 a piece. That's not even bad. Half an hour as a kid.
When the uneducated children can't do basic mathematics.
Dude, well, here's the other part I wanted to know. Do you speak any Spanish?
I like no Spanish.
Okay, like, presumably, did they speak any English?
No.
Okay, so they maybe thought they're going to make bank out of this. We don't know. We don't know what they're saying.
I had a translator app that I could type in English and then they could read in Spanish.
Okay.
But they couldn't read.
Oh,
So my translator app totally failed. I would like type it out. They're like, I don't know. And it's like, oh fuck, this is falling apart. So all I could say is "Me llamo es Mateo."
That's helpful for 1 second.
So we all did that like in a round table, like "Me llamo es Mateo, me llamo es Oscar, me llamo." Tanya was one of my favorites. She kept making really silly mistakes. And I didn't know how to, but I'd be like, Tanya, and everybody would laugh because I'm picking on Tanya.
Yeah. Flip her an extra quarter at the end.
But check out my wing packers. These guys are great with volume.
Not a whole quarter. A nickel.
These guys are great.
Oh, look at him play! Look at him run
Watch this
through
one.
Look at those filthy. Look at those filthy little children run through that field.
These guys are great. Yeah. So
That's
this is
very
my wing
sweet.
packing team.
They were actually running and jumping because Woody had thrown pennies into the brush.
That's good.
So I didn't know, like I don't know how to speak Spanish like at all. I guess that's the thing you're supposed to do before you go to Mexico, but I like maybe brush up a little, know like where to fly.
At least get an
and
app
Find
that
an
works.
app that can maybe talk instead of just like
translate.
translate.
It would have been nice if I had like I could speak and then it would speak back. That seems like a smart thing to find. I didn't do any of that. I just fucking sent it. Like that was my whole strategy on this trip. Just fucking
Yeah.
off the mountain and do your best.
And not even just like a normal, like didn't do any of that stuff. Like what you did is take a kind of airplane, jump off a mountain, fly away from all the people who you might be able to communicate with, and
Yes.
crash land in a rural area and just hope the people around you are going to be able to deal with that. Huh?
Just hope
No,
they're
no, no, no,
friendly.
no.
That's-
Keep
It's
in
very
mind,
optimistic.
keep in mind, he's hoping that like he hasn't crash landed into some sort of like something he shouldn't be looking at.
Like a
Or-
cartel field or something. Right?
I'm not even kidding.
What a beautiful poppy field right here in the middle
It's
of
like
Mexico.
Wizard of Oz.
Have you gotten clean underwear by this one?
Hang on.
I understand what my wing packing team was telling me. This is the way to the taxi. I'm a little suspicious that they're right, but I don't have any phone signal. So it's the best information I have.
I was hiking.
You're just trying to figure it out. No phone signal. Little Oscar just kind of pointed in a direction. And you're like, Oscar, I need you to understand this. Me llamo es Mateo. Sí.
Me ama es Oscar. Sí, sí. Me
Oscar,
ama
I need you to
es
listen to me because this is
Rebecca.
important. Me llamo es Mateo. You got to get me out of here, Oscar. My name is Matthew.
They told me to like go down the road and turn left. And I had no idea what they were saying, but I did understand go down the road. When I got to the turn, they all started screaming, Mateo, Mateo. I turn around, all these kids like doing jumping jacks, and they're like, that way. That way. And those were the last directions I got.
So how long did you hike in altitude on the directions of an immigrant? Not an immigrant. And you're the immigrant.
Yes, I am. Yeah, between 3 and 4 hours. It was so fucking steep and slippery. I'm on all fours with that backpack.
That's
at some point.
horrible.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna need to stop you multiple times throughout this because
3 or 4 hours? That's grueling.
Wait, you had,
Let
you
me
had
just-
down to the end of the road where you could see them and then left.
hang on.
And then
hang
kept
on.
going 4 hours?
4 hours.
Like, so I need to understand the day now. Like we got to rewind just a little bit. So let me understand this. You went out into the jungle and jumped off a mountain and went for a ride on your thing. And at some point you crash landed into a Mexican farmers or
Yes.
some peasants, and then you paid the children to fix your wing, and you were on your way, and you said "Me llamo es Mateo," and they said "Sí," and they pointed to the left, and you walked on that alone. Hang on, let me. Did you see an adult? Were these children unattended, or did they have?
One of them was an older teenager.
What
Okay.
would you estimate
The
was the age
patriarch.
of the oldest individual that you
16,
encountered?
maybe. That was the one with no shoes.
So you never saw the father or mother who. So the next night, Dad got home, or Mom presumably got home, and they were like, Mateo came by. He flew from the sky, and he gave us all this money. And
I
we
gave
said,
the money to like a 6-year-old, and then I had to pantomime that it was to be shared because he was like taking it in.
Oh no.
That was like a week's worth
All
of
right,
food for
pretend-
one kid.
Pretend I'm little Oscar and explain to me that the meager wage that you've just given me must be now split amongst all of my many
You
brothers
probably
and
thought it was the
sisters.
first installment.
Oscar was like, "We're a little cheap, but
No, he lost it. They
I
were
never
so
worked for
excited.
this little
But
before."
it was a 500 because you normally pay 50. I gave him 500, and you know what? Well, 20 to 50 is the range. I gave him 500, and
I have more
so
questions
he was
already.
like, "Oh," and everyone else is like, "Oh," and I'm like, "Split," because they were. I think
He's
they were
saying, gather
saying-
around to look at how much money he gave to just Oscar. Look, everybody be jealous of Oscar, is what he's saying.
He's saying, "I gave that much to the tiniest of you. Just imagine the fortune I'll give."
I think they
Me,
were
I'm a
asking if it was to be
Asmateo.
divided, and I was saying C. And, you know, so anyway, so I'm hiking through the woods. It's steep. How many videos have we watched?
Please
3
tell
or
me there's a number of you, because I would love to see your optimism when you just finished, paying the kids. Everyone's like waving you off, and like you got your wing versus 2.5 hours in, and 3.5 hours in. I
I
just
can't
want to see.
imagine you were taking video
I think
3.5
there's
hours.
some videos in the
Oscar
middle.
lied.
I didn't upload, but like you just see me, like I took a couple breaks in those in that hiking period because I was winded, and it'd be like an uphill section made worse by the fact that it was uphill and muddy, and I just sat down and sort of chilled and stuff. I thought that I had water. I remember buying water. When I got back home, I saw exactly where I set the water down, but for the hike itself, there was no water, and that would have been nice.
That's horrible. You could have died.
I'm self-efficacy,
Dude,
man.
if they would have told me, well said. But if they would have told me if I was in your position, they're like, see, a 4-hour hike up the hill, I'd be like, I'm your new brother Taylor. I'm gonna live here with you and lose some weight. And then when I'm in better shape, I'm gonna make the march up the 4-hour hill.
And you just never do. You become an old man there eating beans and rice.
I'm quickly like sneaking food at night. Like
Silly Taylor thinks
you
there's
don't
food.
even like beans, and I'm just
You only got
shoveling
$24,
it.
Taylor. How much food do you think there is? so
Okay,
They're
so
like,
what do
where's
you-
that $24
So
Mateo
here's
gave
what
us?
as I hike, I come out of the woods and I get onto a dirt road, and I'm like, oh, maybe there's cars on the dirt road, and I maybe saw a couple, but they were all going the wrong way. There was people working, and if I had good Spanish, I might have asked them for a ride, but instead I just hiked on and hiked on. Eventually, coming the other way, there is a motorcycle with a family on it. I thought it was being driven by like a 5-year-old because he is sitting on the front holding the handlebars. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? And then I realize it's the dad behind him also holding the handlebars that's running the thing. And then I realized
it was the
behind
kid.
him is mom sitting on the bike. And mom has an infant. There is a family of 4 on a 150cc motorcycle coming in the other direction. The guy stops and seems to ask me in Spanish if I want to ride. Yeah. So he leaves his wife and 2 children alone in the woods. Right?
Stop! Stop! Pause!
I've been looking for
Pause.
an excuse to get rid of that bitch for years.
One of
Pause.
the kids is like 5 months old.
So,
There's so many questions.
so we're gonna pause a few times. So you're telling me this man stopped and he asked you if you wanted to ride, and your answer was yes.
I don't know if I'm supposed to
See?
feel guilty about
He
this.
hasn't had
I bought
water
the
in
whole
like
family
2
dinner with
weeks.
this ride, right? But my answer was yes. Yes, my answer was yes.
So
he
how-
was 4 hours into a hike at 8,000 feet with no water. I would have
Don't
kicked the
you
family
make
off the bike.
excuses.
I would have hijacked the bike. He's like, I was going to offer you a ride, and it's like, too late.
Wait, was this what I've been training for? Oh, you too, bitch!
There's a kid.
This 5-month-old has no resistance whatsoever. But yeah, that's what happened. Can we watch the last video with volume?
All right.
Is that the last
I
video?
understand what my wing packing team was telling me.
Oh, we saw this one.
This is the
Yeah.
way to the taxi.
Let me see. Did I make a mistake? Which is the last video?
Because I know.
Oh, I have fucked up. Oh no.
Yeah, just send it to.
While you gather that, I
Yeah,
had another
give me
question.
a
You
minute.
mentioned earlier that like you paid the peasant children like much more than the going rate, and I was curious, how was a going rate ever established? Because like I know that I tip like $4 on like a medium pizza if it shows up at my house, something like that. But like I have no idea how much you tip a Mexican child to untangle a parachute, and you seem to have like a known amount.
I'll let Woody keep looking. I know, and it's different because Woody went to like a not resort place, but I know from like going to resorts in like Jamaica or whatever that like if you ask, like the front people will tell you, or like the taxi driver like on the way to the resort will tell you, and so you can be like, I think my wife asked when we went, was like, hey, what's the amount of like cash you leave in the room like afterward, like for the cleaning person, like as their tip for cleaning your room for the week? And they were like 20 bucks, leave $20 at the end of the 5 days or whatever.
You know,
that's the normal amount.
What I always do is you know those 20s that you open it up and it says that, you know, God, it loves you, and that you should give your soul over to him.
You piece of shit.
I figured I could give him $20, and that could be gone frivolously, you know, probably buy a little Oscar, some shoes or something, or I could give him that little message and ruin their fucking day.
but think about it like this, Kyle. You're teaching a man to fish.
No, I am teasing, of course, but like, how many times have you guys picked up one of those bullshit things and been like, fuck you, God. You know what? I'm not going to.
I'm looking up churches of Satan. I'm not going to go there either because church sucks, but just looking it up.
I had called that my first flight, but really it wasn't. We did an evening flight the day before and landed in a field where there were, like, when you land, there's video of me doing it. There are like 8 wing packers and they all rush up to you. And I don't know what they're saying, but it's basically, can I pack your wing? Professional. I am professional. Let me pack your wing. And
I assume they probably throw in there, if no, just say something. Just let me know that you don't want that. Which is probably.
I picked the biggest one, who was like 11. And I'm like, you, right? You're the oldest. You're probably good at packing wings.
It's like Peter Pan. Just children running around.
So that's how
There's
I
like
do
this whole little group of children there that are all missing various fingers because they got caught in the loops of rigging and stuff. And man,
the
they
poor little work to the bone fingers, and they're stepping on rock. Actually, the bottom of their feet are probably really hard.
Just like golems, just black and charred.
I had a friend in like middle school who his entire life, like I went over to hang out with him once, and we were like going outside to like play in the woods or something. And he just started walking out barefoot, and I was like, "What are you doing?" We're going to like play in the creek bed in the woods and everything. He's like, "Yeah, I've always gone barefoot." And so like I'm like, okay, because I've done the barefoot thing on like creek beds, and you think you're gonna be fine, and then you're like, ooh, like your feet are getting stabbed. This fucker was like Mowgliing around, like just fine. Like the bottom of his feet must have been, 2 centimeters thick of skin. He's like, yeah, we just never wore shoes. But
I'm liking that Jungle Book reference.
So Zach, you probably have the last video queued up with volume.
There we go.
This one again?
Okay, so this is awesome. He stopped. He saw me walking.
Look at that vein.
Give me a right.
Face.
Don't know what he said.
Please do not hurt my family.
Run away.
I will take you anywhere you want to go. Please do not hurt my family, sir.
Woody, can you also please send the one of you in the back or in the truck?
Okay.
That was for me the funniest one by far.
Did like the other people you launched with, or like presumably like this isn't your equipment, presumably you rented this from? Did they tell you?
That's the luggage they lost.
Okay, so you got it again eventually. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, did you know to expect this? Did you expect that you would fly for an hour and then have a 4-hour hike followed by a random motorcycle ride followed by a truck ride back with no water. Like, were you prepared for this?
I just sent it. You know, I didn't know. I didn't do a lot of preparation. I had confidence in my ability to launch and land safely, and the rest of it, I just accepted my fate.
Man, I would have been in such a bad mood after that 4-hour hike. It's funny because the way you frame the video is initially you can't tell what you're in, and then just the reveal of
with volume. There's hay on my face.
Okay, I've once again secured a ride. But we're
Look at the
moving
vein.
along. He thinks there might be a taxi.
Oh no!
flying.
I really wish also in the truck were sad workers.
Yeah. So the guy in the passenger seat spoke English, and the driver, who was the boss, did not. So I was talking to the passenger, and he's like, you know, I think he was telling me to throw my gear in the back, or I don't understand. But I climb in the back, and he's like, okay, or that. And,
Or that.
and they just start going.
Oh no.
There didn't seem like there was room up front for any more people. And they drove me a long way. It was like 30 minutes in the back of that truck.
Were you standing the whole time like a dog? Just
Yes,
Just
the whole time. And the Mexican roads are so like potholey and stuff. Dude, there are entrepreneurs who fill the potholes and then beg for money because they're like improving the road. They're just poor people who own a shovel, but they fill it with dirt. So tomorrow there's still a job for them. They're only they don't fill it with rocks or anything permanent. They're just putting loose soil in there and then asking for money. And every day they do the same thing.
It's a good grift.
And but it was hard to stay to the back of the truck because he kept like slamming on the brakes for all these potholes, and he's dodging them and he's moving around, and there's so many speed bumps in Mexico. I don't know why no one's going fast. But he took me for a while, and then I was giving him 500 pesos for the ride, and the guy is like no, because he was going that way already. He felt like he was just doing me a little favor, putting me in the back, no big deal. And I talked to the pastor. I was like, tell him that I'm rich. And then he says that in Spanish, and the guy's like, okay.
Damn, that is a risky move in Mexico. Please announce to this strange man that you're rich.
Get back in the truck.
Yeah. He just picks up the little radio and says something to it right after that. You're like, wait a minute,
The
this
spider
wasn't smart.
just caught a couple of flies.
Wow. It turns out one of his close friends is a taxi driver. It's an unmarked cab, but it's it'll get you where you go.
So that was the last day when everything went wrong for me flying wise.
You went to another country
and then
told
as soon as
you're rich.
As soon as I landed, the sun came out and the sky turned on, and there was all this terrific lift. And but yeah, dude, I had a great time.
Arrow with the zigzag on the end, and then he threw a bunch of fucking cockroaches on her face.
Dude, that's
Out of the
That's
corner of
disgusting.
my eye, I thought one of them jumped or moved or something. Like it must have fallen.
Woody, what if you call the waiter and be like, excuse me, I don't want to cause a stink, but there's a hair in my
excuse me, there's a hair in my pile of bugs.
I even after seeing it, I thought that they would be like seasoned or
That's
something
so
in such
funny.
a way. It was literally just a plate full of bugs that I put on a Tostito. I ate the entire Tostito. I was afraid that I would look back at myself having had like a single bite of grasshopper and not really like, experienced Mexico.
Taylor, you know what the waiters were saying in the back as they watched Woody eat the whole thing.
Yeah, we only have this on there to make this place seem authentic. That's fucking gross.
I've never seen anyone eat the whole thing. Jesus.
To steal a Woody Turner phrase here, for those of us who don't know, what do grasshoppers taste like? What are they close to? Like, what's the nearest comparable food that we might have had?
Caterpillar?
Good
I don't
question.
know.
I haven't had caterpillar.
Like, have you had caterpillar?
having had grasshopper, I feel like I know what caterpillar would be like too.
but it's not helpful. We
That's like saying,
terrible for
we
Woody's
eat as a point of
caterpillar.
that's like saying because you've had pork, you think you'd know what a snake would taste like.
because they're both
no,
meaty.
so it's crunchy and the inside is gross, and they smell like caterpillars, and they taste like grasshoppers. I
Time
don't know
out!
what- They're
I need a pause button with you. You're like, you're on fire tonight.
It
We should
does
do like a
not
video
taste like
reaction to
chicken.
Woody describing this because we need a pause for this.
Wait, what did you just say?
I have no idea.
He said the outside is crunchy and the inside tastes like grasshoppers.
Yeah, I can't
Well,
help
what
you.
do grasshoppers taste like?
Not like chicken, not like steak, not like bison. They're just gross and squishy on the inside, and they sort of the
If there-
the
if there's-
legs
how about a
get caught in between
consistency?
your teeth.
Yeah,
Like
consistency.
tofu, like what are we talking about when you say squishy? Like
So that it is like rotten yogurt on the inside of a grasshopper,
Oh,
and the out and the outside is like dirt and exoskeleton. It's
Okay.
yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna stick
Okay.
with real animals.
And through the now silent canyons of the huge city.
Yo, dilapidated graphics scribed on the building. We prefer gas to textbooks. Teachers and principals got stuck up. Got to educate.
Daily uploads. You heard it right, folks. Daily uploads, baby.
Mustard.